So Wizards of the Coast has made a new secret lair. It is Sacred Lair, the Signets. But there's something very special about these Signets. It is because they have brought back the OG artist for, you know, artifacts. We got Dan Frazier doing the art on these. Dan Frazier, if you don't know, was like the person who did the art for, oh, this is, it's not the real. They did the art for all the original Mox and Mox Pearl, Jet, Sapphire. So, I mean, he's pretty iconic when it comes to the art of Magic. And when we look at this secret lair, I mean, it looks amazing. I mean, it's just flat out crazy beautiful. I don't give a crap about Signets, but all of these look fantastic. And I am so surprised and impressed that Wizards of the Coast did not try to make this like a huge cash grab for $30. I mean, it looks like it's free as far as I'm concerned. They are so nice. But here's the deal. Now, there's a very interesting thing about all these Signets. They were released to a lot of community members to like, you know, just like as a spoiler to everybody. But the problem is that a few of you noticed that Dan Frazier is back. The Enemy Signets foil edition samples sent to the community members in our crates were in traditional foil rather than foil etched. This is being addressed for the full release, and customers can expect to receive foil etched cards. So what ended up happening is that these, if you buy them, they're going to be etched foils, which are a little bit different. If you've seen if you've seen like both regular foil and etched foil, like etched foil sometimes looks a little bit more darker, sometimes more dull, depending on the image. But they released traditional foils to the community members, and one of them was Aspiring Spikes. When you look at this, they all got regular foils. And they are amazing, which means these are ridiculously rare. I don't know how many community members got these, but very few people own them. Now, you have a chance of owning them, however, because Aspiring Spike is auctioning these off. 100% of the proceeds from the auction going to the Trevor Project, which is a wonderful organization that leads the USA in providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services for the LGBTQ plus youth. So you can check that out at you can check out his pinned post at Aspiring Spike on Twitter. So, but there's very few of these. There are very few of these in existence. Yeah, they accident. Like I have. Did they say accident? This is being addressed. No, they didn't say anything was an accident. Yeah. Everything is done on purpose, people. This is all on purpose. They all have a plan. They know how to market this stuff. We're gonna give some very super rare ones to their favorite streamers and community members, and then everyone else gets the etched foilings of them all. Anyway, so those are like, that's going to be a really hot collector item. A really hot collector item. And I guess that's a really good way to pay community members. Just give them something incredibly exclusive that no one else can get. It's not something you can buy. Anyway, thought that was some very interesting news. These are really nice, though. Very impressed at the $30 price tag. Very impressed. Dan Frazier. Because it looks like we're going back in time to that sort of style, that era. We know that the art direction has changed over the years, right? Like, we know that. And it feels like when I'm looking at this, it's like Magic of the past in the present of today. Anyway, thought that was pretty interesting. So welcome everyone. Oh, where's my coffee? I don't have my coffee with me. Yeah, well, okay, I'll go get my coffee, but welcome to everyone to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic. Get your questions fired up. Let's have a great discussion this morning. Also, we do Decklist reviews, so if you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, hey, submit it to us, and both me and the coffee crew will be ready to give that feedback. So brew up your cups of coffee and let's brew up some Magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for July 16, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Michael, Harry, Aaron, Vala. Good morning, Juan, Cody. What is the GD for? I want to say it was like get good, but no, I guess not. GD Emrakul, Andrew, Dylan, 6mm, Casper, 1-2 shot, Frazier, I'll bet this name isn't taken. Manuel, Spencer Ward, Striving, Frederick, Baku, Kevin, MTG Box, and everybody. Andrew loves the Easter eggs video. You're welcome. And also thanks to everybody who helped give me ideas. And we'll probably have some discussion about another video idea I want. You guys can all help cultivating the content for that stuff. You know what we do here, people, in the morning. We talk Magic, but we also talk sponsors. FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week this week. Save up to 15% off all the whiteboard. Hey, don't you go anywhere. All the whiteboarded sets. It includes Revised. It includes Unlimited. It includes Chronicles. I don't know if anyone's a huge fan of Chronicles, but it includes that. So, I mean, if you thought that you missed out getting a deal on any of the reserve list cards as they were booming, now's the time you can go back and get them at those former prices. 15% off. Huge deal for stuff like that. But remember, if 15% off ain't enough for you, you can get an additional. This is an additional 5% off if you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. You can borrow any deck, and this metagame, the modern metagame's changing all the time. New decks come in and out week after week. Remember when Food and Titan were on top? Well, now it's Merc, Titan, Hammer time. And if you want to stay on top of the metagame, no matter what happens, if you're afraid of Ragavan getting banned, you don't need to buy the cards. You just rent the cards with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu. Okay, I'm getting my coffee. This show is useless without the coffee. Coffee and MTG. You know, even if I don't have my coffee, this is useless. It'd be pretty stupid if I bring the MTG but not the coffee. It's like half of the title of the show. All right, so if you're not familiar with how this show goes, 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all the comments I'm getting on several YouTube channels and a Facebook fan page. However, you can cheat the system with super chats. Donate with a super chat on YouTube, and your question gets pushed to the top of my feed. All right, what do we got here this morning? Gotta love Aspiring Spike. What a great dude. Yeah, he's turning into an epic legend. When is he going to have made it as a Spike? Does he evolve one day into just Spike? Spike, I don't know, Magic Master? What is your background? It is literally a bunch of white foam with floodlights being flashed onto it. Some people think I use a green screen. I do not. You can see some of the foam isn't quite tight and packed because some of the, I don't know, I guess, well, whatever. Look, you see the crack? There's a little bit of a crack here. Now that I've showed you that crack, you're gonna see it for forever. But anyway, it's a white foam background against cardboard on a wall divider. There's like this wall divider that sort of wraps around. I'm getting some questions. I'm getting actually DMs about that. Hey, Nikachu, how do you make your background? How do you make your background? I want to do the same thing. And I'm like, hey, it's okay if you want to do it. Order 48 pieces of white foam and then paste it to cardboard and then hang it on a wall divider. Do you ever play Limited? Nope. Limited, I mean, hey, I understand the points for Limited. People love Limited out there. I mean, there are advantages. Like, you know, you are on an equal footing for the most part. It's not exactly pay to win, where if you have $1,000, you can buy $1,000 deck. You only have $100, you can only buy $100 deck. But if you got $15, boom, you're in the draft and you're good to go. And it leverages all forms of skill because you act, unlike Constructed, most people do not construct their deck. It's funny, it's called Constructed, but no one constructs shit. They're just net decking, right? So I understand that in Limited, you can leverage 100% of your skill by not only playing the game, but also constructing the deck. And I guess it's good for deck builders. You know, it's refreshing and fun, and it's changing all the time. And especially if you like creature combat, you know, there's very few games that are going to end in like non-bows. So not non-bows, like combos. You're not going to get combo kill turn 2, turn 3, or whatever. Well, on the other hand, on the other side of Limited, why I don't play Limited, Like, there are still non-games. Like, okay, sure. Maybe you don't get combo killed by turn 2, 3, or 4. However, you may not play at all because you had to keep an unplayable hand, or you flooded out badly. The variance is way higher. And you're playing with, like, very underpowered cards. So I don't really like that fact. And I also, what I love about Constructed, the most thing I like about Constructed, and especially non-rotating formats like Modern, is that you can play the deck and you can gain more and more experience. You get better with the deck over time. Same 75, but improve as a player, do better, get better results with the deck. But you can't do that with Limited. You drafted that blue-white archetype. After your 3 games, it's over. You got to dismantle it. It's gone. And what if that deck was awesome and you went 1-2? Like, you cannot play out like more games to the future to see to capture your win rate. So anyway, curious, what is everyone else's feeling about Limited and Constructed here this morning? If anyone has any strong feelings one way or another. I'm sure there's other opinions. I do love me some Limited. It's Magic on hard mode, and it always feels rewarding to see a plan come together. But what if the plan doesn't? I mean, it's great when the plan comes together. And I do have a little bit of a soft spot for Cube. I don't mind playing Cube, but when it comes to like constructed, not constructed, like standard set Limited, I'm not nearly as interested. I mean, I'm just not. That is a huge killer to me. I cannot play that. It's unplayable to me, in my opinion. People love Limited. Now, I used to think that no one liked Limited, everyone liked Constructed, but the viewership for Limited events told me otherwise. There is definitely less people who like Limited, but, I mean, it's still pretty big. I mean, viewership goes, like, I think out of 100% of the people who play Magic, maybe 40% love Limited and the other 60% love Constructed, so it's less, but it's still something. There's less non-games in Limited with the London Mulligan, but there's still non-games. Like, your Limited is so sensitive to card advantage, it's insane. Now, I'm not a Limited expert, but I know, I know some stuff. So if you have to mulligan to 5, you're effed anyway. I mean, it's fucked. You're fucked. You gotta, like, pack it in. You're gonna have to get really lucky to get through there. Chris Ross, your thoughts on the changes of the format after Modern Horizons 2 and Forgotten Realms? I don't think the format changed very much after Forgotten Realms, unless that Hammer Time deck really needed that Smith or whatever, the new like impulse for an artifact. But I would say overall Modern is doing really healthy because it changes week in and week out. Like, it's never been the same, and we can see a slow trend of changing from, like, there's like a lot of amulet decks, but then there's less, and there's a lot of food decks, but then there's less, and then there's some Murktide decks, and Murktide's on the rise. So, like, the metagame's changing. It's flowing. That's a healthy thing. It adapts. Will make it a real pain in the ass when you go to a GP, because, like, okay, what are people going to show up with that weekend? You never know. Someone somewhere says Limited is the way. Show me the way. I enjoy Limited pre-release and Modern. So that was, you know what? Like, Limited pre-release for me, I liked it up to a point until I kept losing to all these players in the pre-release, and I started like, why am I waking up this early for this? I'm a night owl. Why am I waking up so early? I mean, full disclosure, I'm not that great at Limited. I had to get coaching for Limited when I went to the Pro Tour. Chad says only play MTG on pre-release Limited events. Oh, I'm sure you only play Limited for the pre-releases and stuff. Draft is fun. Sealed sucks. I mean, the best part, and you know what? I've done some Limited videos, and I've seen other Limited videos on YouTube. The part that people love the most is just opening the packs and choosing cards. No one watches the gameplay. I want to say no one, but like, you can get 10x the views on drafting a deck, and then the views just collapse when it comes to actually playing the deck out. I swear, if you're a Limited content creator, the best thing you probably can do is just draft the deck and then give the result at the end. All right, I played my 3 games. This is what we got. It was a hot deck. It was awesome. Here's one highlight of the entire thing. All right, let's move on to another draft and make another deck. I swear, that is like, someone could probably make a killing out there with limited content like that. People love watching the deck being, you know, the packs being opened, cards being picked. No one watches the gameplay. The gameplay is, yeah, playing the deck is the boring part. Yeah, that is so true. I know, I've seen it. I see the data. I'm a data scientist on this, you know? So if you're interested in making hardcore limited content on YouTube, that's my suggestion. You just have a channel where you just draft decks, give the result at the end. Absolutely don't show any gameplay. You're going to turn everyone away. Analytics will go down. You want the analytics to go up. Look at this sick... You could go even a step further and just say, look at the sick deck that we drafted. All right, that's our draft for today. See you next time. You don't even give the result in the end. Pro tip, always ignore advice from people who say sealed is completely luck-based. Darkest mage must be the luckiest person on the planet Earth. Well, here's the deal. So, I think limited is super high skill, but high variance. And there's a difference because you can have high skill and have you can have a win rate of say 80%, but sometimes the wins and losses could come in huge swings. So some people confuse variance with with luck. What I want to say is there is a ton of skill in limited. There's absolutely a ton of skill in limited, but it's still a high variance format. Whereas in constructed, like if you've got a tier 1 deck versus a tier 4 deck, that tier 1 deck will just win every time. It will be it'll be near impossible for that tier 1 deck to get unlucky. But a really good draft deck can still get trounced here and there against a poor draft deck, just because you may not draw lands, you may draw too many lands, and then you just flood out. Yeah, luck does not exist, only variance. So constructed is very low variance, limited very high variance, but I would say because you have to construct your deck in limited, it opens up more room for skill. And draft, you have to draft. That's like a component that doesn't even exist in constructed. And you could hate draft the cards, get those bombs out of the way. Make sure you don't want to play against that stuff. Anyway, that was a very good discussion. 27 Noetic, are we planning on doing a top 10 Modern Horizons 2 flops from the previews till now? Nope, I have no plan, not at the moment. What's the best blue deck now? Played Jeskai and felt super clunky. Oh, it's Murktide. Hands down the Murktide deck. Blue-Red Murktide, best deck in Modern, in my opinion. I mean, unless the Hammer Time deck is tier 0, but I don't think it... We gotta wait and see. We're gonna see what happens. Are they calling Murktide Blitz? Are they just all getting lumped in here? That is literally a Blitz deck. Where's the Murktide? Oh, here, it's called Is It Tempo? Oh, it's called Is It Tempo? I mean, I'm fine with that, honestly. So I think this is, either this is the best deck in the format or Hammer Time is. The question is, I don't think anyone can adjust to this. No one is going to adjust to this deck. This deck can do anything and everything. It is a Swiss Army knife. But I do think Hammer Time is a more powerful deck. The question is, can the format adapt? Because they've got really good tools now in between Seal of Cleansing and this deck's not using, what's it called? Prismatic Ending, but some versions play Prismatic Ending to deal with things like Chalice of the Void on 1 and some other annoying threats. But the point is that they've got really good answers to the opponent's answers. So this deck might be like a super powerhouse. If the format can adapt to this, then I think the best deck in the format is the Murktide decks. But easily, this is the deck to beat, in my opinion. So if you love blue, this is your baby. All right, here, this is your baby. Take care of your baby. Great question. Papa Joe, when constructing a sideboard, when would you go for sideboard cards that are decent against most tier 1 strats? When do you make super narrow, hateful sideboard cards? That's a great question. I will put in super narrow sideboard cards if I expect to play against that deck very often. Like, for example, if there is... Let's take Hammer Time. Let's take something like, maybe not Hammer Time, Murktide. I want to say, if I play in a big event, I'm going to play against this Murktide Is It Tempo deck like at least 2 times, like if I go to a GP. So I know I'm going to play against this thing. And I know if I make the top 8, I have to play against this thing. You can have super hateful sideboard cards if you think that this particular deck is very common, or you just know that it's so strong that as you win, you're going to be facing off against it later on in the tournament. You know you can't dodge it. So that's the only time I would bring in hateful, narrow sideboard cards. I mean, it's sort of a numbers game. Like, how often are you going to play against that deck? If you play against that deck 50% of the time, then you need to have those cards in your sideboard. Ray says, I don't like standard, but can't afford modern. Is Pioneer my only constructed option? Yes, or you could play modern, but you have to play it on a budget. But Pioneer is totally fine too. Or you could play Historic online. That's a free-to-play option. And it's really, and if you want to sink any money into it, you know, 100 to 150 bucks will get you a pretty damn good deck. Mareep, closest to your tribal cube dream is my EDH play group consisting of around 80% tribal deck. Oh, that's sweet, but we need 100%, and all the synergies need to be around tribal. So if anyone doesn't know, I mean, I'm not going to build this cube, but if I were to build a cube, I'd build it 100% tribal, make sure that like the cards can like overlap with each other's card types, like Elvish Warrior, Human Warrior, Human Wizard, Wizard Merfolk, Fairy Wizard, stuff like that. Give this guy a like. Yeah, where's my likes? Where's my likes and subs and all the good social media algorithmic stuff? Andrew Sisson, I like limited from time to time. It's refreshing. It is fun. It's fine for once in a while for me. No, limited is popular. I have nothing against limited. If it's your cup of tea, you go for it. It's just not mine. Did you know that the Cube Cobra website has tribal cubes on it? I had no idea. Don't show me. Don't tempt me, Mikey J. Don't tempt me. Gold medals. Any playable low ticks decks out there? Just spent $1,500 on paper cards, but want to play online, but don't want to spend any more serious cash. I mean, it depends on the format. You can get in pretty cheap on in Pioneer. In Modern, a little bit harder. Well, what is the cheapest deck in Modern? I mean, it might be stuff like Living End if you're willing to not play with Force Negation. We just had the other day. I mean, look at Affinity, actually. Well, in Affinity, all the money is in, like... Oh, no, it used to be an Urza Saga. It went away. I guess if you remove Urza Saga and Mishra's Bauble, I mean, this is a pretty competent deck. That'll save you, like, 200 bucks. Ish. We just had... You look in the archives of Nikachu MTG streams, we just had a video on the set, like a 9 ticks. For $9, you could play Mono Blue Tron. It's a budget Tron deck, but I mean, it's budget. Budget is budget. What are you going to get? You can't get everything for free. Yeah, Mono Blue Tron is pretty budget. Oh, we got the action here today. Ragavan and Burn instead of Eidolon? Not a chance. Eidolon is integral. Well, do you know what? Okay. Eidolon is usually integral to the burn strategy, but not always. So maybe in situations where Eidolon is not good, maybe Ragavan is playable. And you know what? I don't have nothing against Ragavan and Burn, because all the burn spells are basically removal spells, you know what I mean? So that's totally possible. But sometimes Eidolon just doesn't do the job, but generally speaking, Eidolon is important to the burn strategy, especially against combo decks that are just trying to whip out all those cards all at once. Gold medals. When can I get myself one of those coffee cups you're using? You can get it like today. Is it not in the description? Where is my templates? I swear I have a link. Maybe I don't. Lord Magica says I should have a link to the coffee cups. Like it's like Teespring Nikachu MTG. You just like Teespring Nikachu MTG and boom. How much am I selling this coffee cups for? Look at my great apparel that we got here. You could get a sticker. This is in Canadian dollars, by the way. I think it's like $5 US. You get a shirt. Look at the front and back. I think can you only get it in gray? You can get it in white as well. I think I used to have black, but like I personally have black and it's terrible. I really don't like it. How do I get out of this hell? And here's the coffee mug. Boom. Look, I'm making content about my merch. This is gonna be, well, I don't know about limited time, but I am planning on changing all my logos and stuff. So, I mean, maybe I'll keep the classic mug here. So I don't want you to feel pressured to getting it before it's gone. It's still there, but you just go Teespring, Nikachu MTG, boom, it'll show up. Oh yeah, it's actually like sometimes it's advertised in the description anyway. Would you do live viewers again like you did last year? Nah, it's a little bit cumbersome. I prefer to get through all these questions. If I have viewers, it's got to be, I prefer that it's just like content creators that are also in our space. The content creators. Yes. And I should also buy more. Oh yeah, it's a little bit different. I removed the Nikachu MTG to make it cleaner. See, let's look. So anyone, like, that is no longer for sale. So anyone who has the Nikachu MTG one, I mean, that was super limited edition. Less than 20 of those out there. But anyway. Also, if you have nothing on the back, that was like a super limited edition. The new ones, there's something on the front and the back, like daytime, I don't know, sunset. You get both. I didn't know I could put something on both the front and the back. So anyone who has the really early editions, you got like super limited edition versions of the merchandise. But yes, I've had this merch for like over a year. I don't advertise it too much because I don't make almost no money off this merch. I put the prices low enough that, like Teespring, you're basically supporting Teespring more than me, but it's all good. If you want to have some merch, go for it. Modern can take Ragavan. Maybe we can take Goblin Lackey. Well, I don't know if we can take Ragavan. Has it even been a month? I guess it's been a month. I don't know if we can take Ragavan. I think that's still up in the air. We don't know what that is yet. Ragavan could still prove to be the best creature of all time. When will be your second part of the Easter egg? Second part? I mean, this might go on forever. Who knows how many Easter eggs there are? Yeah, it was a pretty good video. People already the thing isn't even 24 hours old. Like, I posted that thing, like, I think 19 hours ago. People already asking for the second part. We're gonna make a second part, people. I don't know when the second part's coming up. Any new additions from... No, nothing. No, that didn't do shit for us. Any front runners for Confounding Conundrum Memorial Award for the D&D core set? I don't know if any cards were even hyped from that set. I mean, I just thought the whole set was trash. I thought the whole set was nonsense. Hugo, should I upgrade my Delver Murktide into Monkey Murktide, or should I transform it into Blitz? Monkey Murktide, in my opinion. You don't have to transform it into Blitz. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go into Blitz, that's totally fine. If cost is a deal, I mean, it doesn't really matter. If you are more scared of something getting banned, like, I don't think Ragavan's getting banned anytime soon. But it could get banned like 6 months, a year from now. It's all that anything is possible. You could go into the Blitz. They're both very competent decks, but I think Monkey Murktide is the best deck right now. And I think the Monkey Murktide deck will suit your style. Blitz is a very different deck. It's a very, very different deck. You'll probably do well with it as well, but I would suggest going into the Monkey Murktide. Only if it doesn't hurt you financially. Like, if it really hurts, then just go with Prowess. It's also still a very good deck. Actually, let's see where Prowess is right now. Let's take a look at Prowess. Because I put the last 30 days. What if we go for I like the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks says a lot. See, is it Tempo's on top? Prowess is falling apart. It's not as big anymore. If we move into the future, I mean, if you want a tier 1 deck, you got to go Monkey Murktide. If you want a tier 1.5, Blitz. Hope that answers your question. If they ban the hammer, would it just become Black White Stoneblade and still be tier 1? Nope, it would just, the deck is dead. Maybe they would try to live on with cranial plating, but I doubt it would work. Spencer, what would you think of a 5-color Cycling New Perspectives combo deck? Cycling does have answers to everything in 5-color, which would interfere with the engine. Could it be viable? I have no idea what the hell this is. 5-color Cycling New Perspectives? Is this a card? Enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. As long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, you may pay 0, then pay pay cycling costs. I'm gonna say anything is possible, but you gotta show the list. Gotta show the list. But it's 6 mana. It doesn't look good. 6 mana is too much. What is your opinion on burn in the current meta? Not doing great. I mean, well, I don't know how it's actually doing in the current meta. All I can tell you is that it's unpopular. Maybe it's a fine deck, but I can tell you it's a very unpopular right now. When are you having a judge on here to interview? We had one judge already. Hey, if there's a tier 2 judge that watches this show, and I wouldn't mind having a tier 2 judge on one day. Just that I'm sure you guys have a bunch of rules questions we can answer. Is there any more affordable alternatives in Shardless Rhinos to replace the Force Negation and Subtlety? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. You just gotta live without it. There's a reason they play those cards. It's because they don't get hit by the Cascade spells. They are very, very, very unique. And the price of Force Negation, I'm sure, is still going up. Up and up and up. MTG stocks. Let's go to MTG stocks. I should have MTG stocks as one of my default websites I'm on. Oh, it's not doing too bad. It's actually going down. So the price is flat at $100, but people are paying less for their Force Negations. They don't want to pay the high prices. Too high of prices. Force Negations too much. You bring those prices down. No one stands those prices. Modern Enchantress is fairly cheap, is it? I got it around here. Yeah, actually, it's actually affordable online. It was about $200. That's not too bad for a deck. Just to remind everyone, you could rent whatever you want with Mana Traders. I think, like, what is it? Like, for $34 a month, you get a 400 ticks capacity, and that lets you into, like, a lot of decks. I think for $35, you can get well, can you get most decks now? Most decks are actually playing with Force Negation, which is a huge beating. Is a tempo deck? Holy smokes! What happened? What the hell? Ragavan. What? Spire Bluff Canal is $123 up. Oh no, let's go to Magic the Gathering Online. What is costing so much money? The Mishra's Bauble, the Ragavan. Oh my god, Ragavan's gone to the moon. Ragavan has gone to the moon. I mean, that is what is that? 500? Is that? It's like 550 divided by 4. So it's 110. No. 550 divided by 4. Almost $140. Online. This is insane. And Murktide is sort of right behind. Like, it's the mini money. Ragavan is the big money. And Murktide is the mini money. And not to mention Mishra's Bauble. You basically have to buy one of these cards and then get like the most expensive rental capacity on here in order to make this work. That's crazy. Alright, well, what about Hammer Time? Hammer Time, yes, well, Hammer Time's at 1. That's 600. Urza's Kitchen. So maybe the new normal is you gotta go up. You gotta go the $60 a month one. But if I would say if you want to go into your deck the long term, you could just you just buy the deck out. Before Modern Horizons 2, you could get most great decks for the $34 a month package. How about Jeskai Stoneblade? No, that one's high too. Like, any Force Negation has become pretty integral. How about Rakdos Luris? No, this is not going to be good. You got Ragavan in there. Ragavan, so if you're blue, Force Negation. Oh, you want to go red? Ragavan. Oh, you want to go both? Take a mortgage out on your house. Take a mortgage out on your house. G-Tron is $90. Well, if we go far enough to a deck that no one wants to play right now. And by the way, it's not bad to invest in one of these decks. G-Tron's... Oh, no. G-Tron is still expensive. Not 90 bucks. G-Tron's still money. Dude, you reminded me of the Euro era prices, basically. Well, Euro was a funny thing because Euro was like not only ridiculously expensive, but all the cards surrounding the Euro deck were expensive. Force and Negation, the fetch lands. I mean, it was just bananas. How about Mill? Okay, Mill we can afford. There we go. And Mill's not too bad. Mill got some tools actually from Forgotten Realms. It's probably the deck that got upgraded the most. They're playing with what's it called? Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Hideous Laughter. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until that player has exiled cards with the total mana value 20 or more. MTG Ectoplasm goes, I got them all in foil. We got 4x in foil. Hey, anyone who invested early, you came out big time. I remember I think foil Force and Negations was like 50 bucks. And my friend said, look, they're on Star City Games. You got to go get them. That was like, it was just when it just got released. And I'm like, 50 bucks. I don't know if I want this. Anyway, biggest mistake in my life. That's adorable. The Nikachu thinks Magic players can afford to own houses anymore. Okay, ask your parents for a mortgage payment. Ask your parents to take a mortgage out on their house to help feed your Magic addiction. Lolly, if Urza gets banned, which decks using it would you think will survive? If Urza gets banned, which decks using... You know what? Urza doesn't really have its own deck. It's just thrown into artifact decks for the most part. Urza is usually just a mess. It's like a blue good stuff card. I think Urza is like the blue Jund like card for the most part. There are some decks where it's used as a combo, but I think all of them should survive. I think all of them are. Usually the decks are built around Urza, not the other way around. It's not like Urza. Well, Urza does get put in some decks. Like a definitive archetype that would be around, maybe the Whir Prison deck, or like the Thopter Foundry sort of the Meek combo. Your other chat is asking for the bunny story. The bunny story is, it's simple. Hold on, let's look up Nikachu Poker and see what shows up. Oops. Once upon a time, my poker origins. You don't see any of the bunny graphs up here. Wow, they just not got saved by 2+2. Look at that, a young Nikachu. Anyway, long story short, at the end of every month, the poker players like... Oops. The poker players... Let me open this in a new tab. They like to show off how much money they've won or lost. Usually people just show the money that they won. Everyone's a winner out there, right? And like they're showing graphs of millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and here I am making like 180 bucks or a few $1,000s a month, and I'm like, well, how do I grab everyone's attention? So I started drawing these bunnies, and they were a smash success. Everyone loved these bunnies, and I have like I have tons of them. This is the only one that shows up on the algorithm. Oh, well, yeah, for some reason on this, it's not showing my personal emojis on this client. It is weird. I never get to see them. But anyway, this is the origin of the bunnies, and it's stuck ever since. I just translated it to Magic the Gathering. Do you think the threshold mechanic could be printed in Modern Horizons 3 and survive in Modern? Absolutely. Absolutely. And we probably will see something like that eventually, because they keep bringing back those mechanics. And I think the threshold mechanic is pretty cool. And it could be a good clash between, you know, people who want to delve and people who want to hit threshold. We should now have a payoff for having well, we do have a payoff. It's like Delirium is like the new mini Threshold, I guess. Maybe Threshold has just been crushed by Delirium. Delirium is just easier to pull off. Turnic with the super chat. Thank you so much. Which do you prefer in a diverse meta? A sideboard of 7 and 8 cards to beat your 2 worst matchups, or a sideboard of 1 or 2s that act as a Swiss Army knife? I would say, okay, very specifically, if you have one bad matchup, then you should have a sideboard of 1 or 2s. If you have like 3 bad matchups, you probably have to gun them down. You have to have some hardcore pieces for them. If you have 2 bad matchups, you got to make a decision whether you want to try to dodge those. I think you can still reasonably dodge those matchups though. So the idea is you'd be better off just hoping to dodge your bad matchups. And because the thing is, if it's a bad matchup, the sideboard cards probably don't matter anyway. So just try to make sure your sideboard cards are for all the other matchups, so you can take like an even matchup to like winning, super winning. And then if you just face those decks, you're gonna have a great tournament. Whereas if you face your bad matchups, whether you have the sideboard cards or not, you're probably going to do very poorly. That's the theory behind it. So especially if there's only one bad matchup, I just ignore it. Don't worry about it. But if you have 3 or more, obviously you can ignore it. Like if you're going to face those 3 decks constantly, you've got to be prepared for them. Okay, it's time to transition. You know where we're transitioning to. Deck list review time. It's that time of the show where you hear that music. And then you see this link show up at the bottom of the thing. All right. So if you want this time for deck list review, if you want your deck list to be reviewed on the channel in front of the coffee crew and myself, go into my description. There is a link to my Discord. Join my Discord. Go to the channel deck list review and then enter the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list and you'll be eligible at random for deck list review. Oh, and it's Friday today, so at the end of the show, I'll be clearing the queue. Just a heads up. So you've got to resubmit it again for next week. But you only after the end of the show on Friday, you only have to submit it once per week. All right, let's get. Oh, wait for Stefan. Wait for MTG Box. Looks like he's writing something in. They'll start plucking things. A Hoke, what are your thoughts on expanding the sideboard from 15 to 18 or 20 cards? Don't know if this has ever been brought up. It was. There was a point in Modern where both Affinity and Dredge were really popular and really powerful. It was when Golgari Grave Troll was legal and Mox Opal were legal. And when you have both those at the same time, it was impossible to prepare for those stupid nonsense decks. Like, if you want to reasonably prepare for those decks, you need like 6 cards against them, and then you'll need like 6 cards for Affinity, 6 cards for the Dredge. You don't have room in your sideboard for that. Anyway, so it's an old topic that got brought up. I think overall it's unhealthy. I think the fact that you need to make a decision, you need to make choices, or even the choice whether you want to prepare for the matchup at all, should be a thing in Magic. And then if there are too many one-dimensional decks, you got to ban it. And to be honest, I think Modern can only suck up one of those decks. And then they banned Golgari Grave Troll, and then they banned Mox Opal, and then created Karn the Great Creator. So I think Modern can suck up one thing. Don't forget my sponsors. I mentioned them at the beginning of the show. So if you're on the replay, you always see it. I try to get it out of the way. I get it out of the way, you know? Because I know there's a lot of people when you make it to the end here. Shout out to Fusion Gaming Online and Administrators. Coupon codes Nikachu will give you discounts. Okay, let's go. Our first one, Mufflins. Mufflins. Congratulations, you're the next contestant on Deck List Review. You got the great Yoshi Island music. I didn't even know I had that in my playlist. Jund Death Shadow. Yeah, why are people forgetting about Jund Death Shadow? Okay, we got Luris. This is like a contrast. We had a Jund Death Shadow, I think, the other day without Luris. Luris, Death Shadow, Dragon's Rage, Chandler, 1 Croxus, Scourge of the Skyclaves, Tarmogoyf, Fatal Push, Inquisition, Lightning Bolt, Thoughtseize, Unholy Heat, Teamer Battle Rage, 1 Dismember, Mishra's Bauble, Seal of Fire, We have 19 lands with Blood Crypt, Bloodstain, all this good stuff. EE, it's a good card right now. Alpine Moon, Nihil Spellbomb, Veil of Summer, Ancient Grudge, Assassin's Trophy, Voidmere. You know, this is being brought up more than once. Probably Chalice of the Void is better than Voidmere. I know it's way more expensive. This is like a budget card, but I don't think you're on a budget. Oh, no, it's a nombo for you a little bit with Mishra's Bauble. But I think you'd still prefer the Chalice was online than have your Mishra's Baubles. Maybe it doesn't hurt you. Maybe Voidmere is fine. It just seems like a lot of decks are deciding to go the Chalice route than the Voidmere route. Am I right? New York Gyron says unban Troll and then banned it again. Yes, Golgari Grave Troll was the first and only card to be rebanned. I know, red deck with no Ragavan, but this is not a bad card though. I don't know if this is like a budget option, but I mean this could definitely be Ragavan. I mean, like, this deck plays very well with Ragavan. Between all the removal and hand disruption, I mean, it's great. I mean, Dragon's Rage Channeler is not bad either. It can feed Tarmogoyf. It flies over the sky. Grant says, new fan, but love listening at work. My question is, will you do more vampire testing after Innistrad? I play vampires and need help. I'm gonna go back to vampires at Halloween. I promise you, we're gonna go back to vampires during Halloween. Voidmere makes the same nombo with Oh yeah, your true story. True story rearranged. May as well play the 0 mana hate card. Well, the only other thing is that this hits. I think Voidmere hits what's it called? Eldrazi-tron pretty hard. Eldrazi-tron not a happy camper when they see Voidmere. It's actually an effective sideboard card versus them. Not versus mono green Tron or mono blue Tron or any of that other crap, but against Eldrazi-tron it's good. If you don't have any care for Eldrazi-tron, yeah, this should be definitely Chalice of the Void, with the upside that you could bring in Chalice to put on like 2, even though it hurts you a little bit. Actually hurts you a lot. Yeah, it hits the Cascade decks if they want to play anything for free. Oh, you know what Voidmere hits that Chalice can't? Things like Subtlety. Yeah, things like Subtlety. It hits Solitude, Grief. Maybe this is still worth it. You know, Elementals is coming up in the metagame. I played against it. It's a rough matchup. I mean, they get to do everything for free, for fuck's sakes. That's ugly. So maybe Voidmere has a place. I forgot. There's that new Elemental nonsense coming up. Where is it? It's actually high enough. Look, 5-color Elementals. And look at all this nonsense. Look, Solitude, Fury, Subtlety, Endurance. F this. And they got more stuff in the sideboard. More solid. They got all the free crap here. E-Tron will adjust map for Urborg in game 2, but then they're not. But here's the thing. If they don't know you have Voidmere yet, then they're not mapping for Eldrazi Temple. They're not mapping for their Tron lands. It's strategically difficult. It's not so easy. And then if they get the map out before, if they get Voidmere out before you have map out, then it's just going to counter all the maps. Anyway, I think the list is good. I mean, I've got no strong feelings about anything. Nice list. Thanks for submitting it and good luck with it. Okay, who do we got? We got Vala. Vala is the next contestant on Decklist Review. What are we doing? Millennial 8 rack. Oh, please have Karn the Great Creator in here. Please, please, please have Karn the Great Creator. When I hear of this is definitely Nikachu MTG fan. Okay, what do we got? We got Blood Chiefs, there's Inquisition, Ravens, Crime, Thoughtseize, Wrenchmine, Dothy Voidwalker, Tarash, Dread Cantor. Oh, we don't have Karn the Great Creator in a Millennial deck? What is going on here? Funeral Charm, Liliana's Triumph, Surgical Extraction. Some of these are a bit weird. Some of these choices, Pithing Needle, The Rack, Swamp, Urza Saga, Shrieking Affliction. You don't even have a full playset in here. Did they use a full playset? I thought they did. Break the Ice, Damnation, Destroy target land. If you do, change the text by originally instant story with each. So that's why you're not playing with Mishra's Factory. Usually these 8-rack decks play with Mutavault, but they got a huge upgrade with Mishra's Factory. Because these Mishra's Factories can pump themselves up, Mutavaults can't. Damnation, Damping Sphere, Ensnaring Bridge, Nihil Spellbomb, Surgical Extraction. You got any words? Trying some new hotness with Modern Horizons 2 cards. Urza Saga as the 4th, The Rack. Yeah, why aren't we playing more Urza Sagas? Like, let's load up on all the Urza Sagas, right? You add mana with this thing. Can you use the black mana at all? Maybe not. This deck doesn't use the colorless mana very much. Maybe, well, no, it's okay, I guess. Yeah, it's called 8-rack when you play 8-rack effects. Well, I guess you got the 8-rack with the Urza Saga. So you got 5 racks, 3 Shrieking Affliction. So we're still there. We're still there. It's still true to the story is still holding up. Yeah, I guess it's the Urza Saga to hit the racks. I don't mind that idea. And you can get a Pithing Needle. Like, I don't mind that at all. Yeah, let's get Urborg. I mean, I would like to see more Urza Sagas in this deck. But it is clunky. Like, I admit, it's clunky. Like, everything requires black mana. Look at this, is double black. But yeah, you get a few Urborgs in there and you're good to go. So yeah, maybe we got like at least one Urborg and another Urza Saga. Are you run Luris? This version is running Liliana the Veil, which I'm not thrilled with, but it's okay. Trosh Dread Cantor is a good card. Dothy Voidwalker. Dothy Voidwalker looking hot in this deck. Dothy Voidwalker looking really hot in this deck, actually, because, you know, you discard stuff all the time. You could take a big fatty from them. Nikachu is dummy thick. I have no idea what that means. Okay, so we need an Urborg in here. It's like it's free, you know? It's a free roll. Oh, Fox tells me I watched some of your your Merfolk games, and you're a very solid Merfolk player. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. This is your deck list. So okay. So we got. All right, Vala's watching. Vala is watching. I think you've been getting the same number of viewers for Decklist review the past few months. I've been getting it. I've been doing pretty well as long as we keep playing the Nintendo music. Oh shoot! Is the Nintendo? Oh, no, the Nintendo music is pretty low. Yeah, I would say let's add another Urborg, and let's add. Okay, we gotta cut some stuff, right? Like, this is a crap card for the most part. Like, is this better than Raven's Crime? I don't think so. Like, Raven's Crime is a very good card because you can turn all your lands into discard spells, so I think it's better than Funeral Charm. Or maybe Funeral Charm is okay because of Ragavan? I'm not sure. Like, Ragavan seems like a real pain in the ass. Like, Funeral Charm is not bad, but it's not great either. Liliana's Triumph. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you control a Liliana Planeswalker, each opponent also discards a card. Not in love with this card. Yeah, I know it hits Ragavan, but it doesn't... Okay, it hits a few stuff. It hits a lot of stuff out of... It can hit Ragavan, Dragon Rage Channeler. It can hit a lot of stuff out of Hammer Time. It's got targets. But it doesn't hit anything in Blitz. I'm tired of this. Oh no, we are on 14 days. It hits nothing in Amulet. It barely hits it. I don't think it hits anything in Urza's Kitchen. I think it's a tough sell. It's got... I'll tell you this much. You should have it in the sideboard, if anything. What's in your sideboard? Break the Ice, Damnation, Damping Sphere, Ensnaring Bridge, Nihil Spellbomb, Surgical Extraction. Like, probably this Funeral Charm should be in the sideboard or something. No, it's not a Smallpox deck. Smallpox is not that good unless you're playing with the land where if you sacrifice it, you look for a plains. Doesn't Funeral Charm discard at instant speed, therefore... Yeah, you can hit their... Yeah, it does. You can hit their draw step. But, like, it's a one-shot thing, and then that's it. If they're on one card, they're screwed anyway. I don't know about these 7 cards. Like, the rest of this deck is fine. Tarot, maybe you want another Tarot. I mean, this is a pretty... This guy's pretty boss. And he can even use the Urza Saga mana. Yeah, I was thinking of Flagstones. Yeah, Smallpox. Oh, yeah, you don't have many lands. Let's up your land count with Urza Saga. Let's go to 21. And Urborg. And besides, you're sacking the Urza Saga anyway, so, like, you're gonna get value. You're gonna quit. And the creatures will have some synergy with, like, Pithing Needle and the Rack. Yeah, your Rack. You only have 3 racks. This is not even 8 rack. You have 3 racks. You should have like 4 plus. This is 7 rack. So first things first, we are changing the name to 7 rack unless you can fix that, Vala. You gotta fix that. Okay, so like, okay, I'm not in love with any of these cards. Like, especially Surgical Extraction should just be in the sideboard. And so we could add, instead of Funeral Charms, add like, I'd like fill in some of the cracks here. Put another Raven's Crime. Get another rack. Get like 2 more Urza Sagas. Replace one of the swamps with like Urborg. Like, this stuff is a little fancy to me. Especially Liliana's Triumph. It's just a bad removal spell. And if you have Liliana the Veil on the board, then the whole discarding your opponent's card thing doesn't matter very much. With Raven's Crime and Sagas, I want this deck to be like 23 lands that'll allow us to play stuff like Dredge Land and Castle Lothwain. That is true. That also, yeah, we have 18 swamps. We have room to play stuff like Castle Lothwain. I think that's a good point. Castle Lothwain is great. I might even be willing to have like Ensnaring Bridge in the main deck overall, and then try to squeeze our opponent. I would not be against like the Ensnaring Bridge in the main deck, because you're probably going to be winning. I mean, like top up your Shrieking Affliction. Like, let's go 12. I think one problem with this deck is it can't win quick enough. What if we just go all in? All right, we got 4 Shrieking Affliction. I think this is a great idea to bring in this Urza Saga. Let's have 4 Shrieking Affliction, 4 Urza Saga, 4 Rack. Like, I have been killed by the Rack because they just, like, they had, like, 4 or 5 Rack effects. And even though I had 1 card in my hand, I got screwed anyway. But when they have only, like, 1 or 2, I always have enough life to, like, kill them before they kill me. So maybe we just go super all in here. Because 12 Rack is a thing, but is it a thing with the lands? Because I don't like these cards. Like, I just don't like them. And, like, you have a good strategy here. Let's double down on the strategy. You can even, like, fill up everything. 1, 2, 3. For lands, we add 3 more. That's almost 7. And then our 7th card, we play 1 more Rack. And I don't know. Maybe we should have another Shrieking Affliction in here. Oh, really? Shrieking Affliction beat 3 tops? Then how did it get called 8 Rack? How did that happen? Was that a mistake? Lothwain is Boomer, run Nurturing Peatlands. I haven't played the deck myself, so I can't speak strongly one way or another. Can I edit it? Can I live edit? Well, I mean, did you do it already? Because we gotta go soon. Okay, I'm gonna give you 4 minutes. You can edit it. Go edit it live. We're gonna do it live, people. We're gonna do it live. Because otherwise, you know, you can see in your deck list, you're not... I mean, I understand the 3 Inquisition because, you know, I think a lot of people just want 7 of these Thoughtseize effects. Anyway. Target player discards 2 cards from their hand unless they discard an artifact card from their hand. This may or may not be well positioned right now. A lot of artifacts in the meta. Although I guess if people have a Mishra's Bauble, they'll just play it. Should be updated now? Alright, let's go check this out. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so we have Bloodchief's Thirst. We have all the Raven's Crime. See, this is cleaner. Hopefully Forza's Saga is fine. By the way, you could have had... Okay, and then his Swamp, you know, put some Castle Lothwains in there. It's basically free. No reason to not have it. Yeah, it's fine. And it won't get hit by your break the ice. I like it. I like this. I think this looks better. Take away Wretch Mine plus Unburden? The hell is that? Target player discards 2 cards. Ah, that's 3 mana though. Too much mana. Liliana probably is meh, but we can't do anything about it. I mean, I think it's like... It's just a card for this deck. I don't know what to replace it with. The advantage is if you take out the Liliana, you get to play with Lurrus, but I don't know if you really need Lurrus in this deck. I don't think it's very important. I'm so curious to know how Dothy Voidwalker is going to work in this deck. I think it's going to be amazing. Because, like, this deck actually can hit on 2 angles. You hit them with, like, you know, the rack and stuff, or you hit them with the Dothy Voidwalker because you're, like, discarding all the... You have so much access to your opponent's hand between Inquisition and Thoughtseize and, like, just discarding everything else that you'll know that the coast is clear for your Voidwalker. Play the Voidwalker, steal one of their best cards later. Like, you get rid of all their removal, play Voidwalker, Thoughtseize, like, a good fatty. You could, like, win that way. Anyway, I think this looks better. I think this looks cleaner. It's possible we're running too many Urza Sagas, but you could playtest that and see what happens. Because I know this deck doesn't use the colorless mana very well. It can use it. It's not terribly dead. I mean, like, even Tarash can use it. So it's not completely dead, but it might be a little awkward. I think 19 Swamps, though, is going to be fine. All right. Thank you for submitting the list. Where's Grief? Well, that's just card disadvantage. Anyway, all right, that's it for Coffee and MTG today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you want to check out the replay, go check out Nikachu MTG streams on my alternate YouTube channel. If I didn't get your comments, questions, or deck list, hey, we do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. If you'd like to support the channel and you don't do so already, you could drop a sub at twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. You could become a patron at patreon.com, or you can hit the join button on YouTube. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. And hope everyone learned a little something. We had a great conversation about Limited. Take care, all you Limited players, and keep brewing up that coffee crew, and we'll keep brewing up Magic. See you guys next time. Have a good weekend.